Hi, so continuing from part 2, we've just moved the T10 section view map the T10 section into the view maps area. From there, what you need to do is move from the view map into the layout book. The layout book is where you determine the size of the sheet that is to be printed, where you create and draw your title block, where you put things such as legends, North Point, scale bar, and so forth. So before you can move from the view maps into the layout book, you need to do a bit of groundwork in the layout book section. So what we'll do just in preparation is do a bit of a shunt along, which is to move this from here into here for the view map, so notice how they're both the same, and then move from here into here. So the aim is to get this T10 information into a layout sheet that has the correct master assigned to it in this area of the organizer palette. And that will make more sense as I discuss in more detail what the layout book is supposed to achieve. So we'll have a discussion of the layout book now, which is this area of the organizer palette. If I close this up, the layout book, if you notice the icon is slightly different to the icon that's on the view map. This layout book is supposed to indicate that this is the book for printing, or the pages for printing. Within this area are a number of folders that are actually called subset folders. So the icon for the subset folders is right here. So should you want to create a new folder, you simply just click on here, name the subset folder, so we'll call this one test, and you just create it. Now, because I actually had this folder selected, it's put it as a folder within this folder, but to get it out to be the same hierarchy as the measured survey folder, you just pull it out here, okay? So that's the simple way of creating the new subset folder. So if you can appreciate then that the aim is to create a master and assign that master to a layout sheet. So notice the difference in the icons. A master has a gray rectangle, and a layout sheet is a yellow rectangle, which correlates to these buttons down here, which is a new master layout. See the gray icon there, gray sheet, and the new layout, which is a yellow sheet or yellow icon. Now, the first thing you have to do is to create a master. And a quick discussion of masters. Masters sit as a separate folder down here in a masters folder. A master is, if you've used AutoCAD before, a master is a way of determining the page size, but it doesn't actually have any physical properties other than it needs to then be assigned to an actual page, which is called the layout sheet, which is this one here, the new layout sheet, or these ones here. So if you can imagine that the master will have information that is to be mastered or repeated onto all the different layout sheets. So that's, for example, the title block with information such as the client's name, the practice name, the practice logo, the name of the project, and so forth. The number of exceptions to the master is that normally you see North Points on many drawings in the title blocks, but because North Points aren't relevant for a section or an elevation, it shouldn't necessarily go on a master, because a master should only have information about the page size and the information that is to be repeated on every sheet without exception. So to create a master, what you do is you click on the new master layout, you call it the master, so we're going to call it for this exercise ML test on A3. I always like to put the page size in the name of the master so that there is never any confusion on what size you should be printing. Let's change this to A3 and then make it landscape, leave the margins as they are, and go create. So as soon as you create it, notice what happens is you get a blank A3 size sheet that is ready to have a title block drafted onto it. Now you've already got a title block, which is this one here in your student file. So what we're going to do is we're just going to drag and drop this into here, and the title block's going to come into place. Now what I'll get you to do is to place your own company logo here that you perhaps just fiddle around with in Photoshop, and then populate the information in here via File, Info, and Project Info. So notice here, if I change the client to Michelle, then it will change to Michelle on the title block. You may well need to scale this title block, since we can see that it actually overruns the blue line edge, which is the edge of the printable area. So if you were to want to scale the title block down, what I would suggest is that you drag the title block, Control D, into the corner where the blue frame is indicating the printable area. Then you press Control K, press OK, and then go click, click, and then pull it back to here. Okay? So you'll need to practice that, but that is to scale the title block. Then what you need to do is determine, well, for some sheets, and not in this sheet in particular, you may need things such as North Point or a legend or a scale bar that is flexible enough to be assigned to the layout sheets that are appropriate for that information. So for example, you don't put the North Point on the title block here in the master, because a North Point can't be repeated without exception on all the layout sheets, because obviously the North Point's not relevant for the section. So in a later tutorial, I'll show you how to get around that, and with the most efficient way to have a North Point assigned to those layout sheets that should have a North Point to it, and not have a North Point assigned to those layout sheets such as sections and elevations, which should not have it. So I'm just signing off for this tutorial now, but we're going to come back with part 4 to continue with discussion of the layout book.